Okay, so I have confirmation in my hand right now, but what I was going to say, and what actually really drew me on here because I didn't want to lose it, is there is this pop-up energy. Okay, like someone wants to pop up on you, but they are not sure how it would be received. Okay, so you may have cut off contact with this person. I feel like there are some things that you may have of theirs or something like that. And so you fully expect to see this person at some point. I feel like you can feel this person pulling on your energy. There's this want or need for you to be patient while they work on some things and step into this emperor energy, into their power. Yeah. Okay. Where you both fully know they should be. I think that this person knows that just because you have cut them off doesn't mean that you are just out there looking for something new or anything like that. They are still balancing some things out and having to grow some things. I don't think that they're necessarily asking you to wait on them. I don't think that they think that you would, because you are the star, right? So things are magnetized to you, and like they don't want to stop that or affect that. Okay, there are certain things that you're working on. Yeah, this Queen of Pentacles energy here. You are stepping into or mastering currently. Okay, after a period of painful awareness. Okay, it's that you're also balancing out. Think that if they need to stay away from you, they will. This King of Swords. I don't know if that is necessarily what you want, but I think that you want them to be capable of meeting you at a certain place. And if they are still so wounded that, well, first of all, they're talking to everybody but you about y'all's relationship. They need to understand that it's not about the money. It's about the security. So you probably make your own way. And so that in itself may raise some issues for them, not necessarily in general, but at this time. But you're aware of their potential, and they are aware of their potential as well. They really want to come towards you. The Queen of Cups. Yeah, they'll walk away if they need to. If that's what you really want, if that is, but they are willing to put in the work here, it looks like. And work on the communication Because I feel like that's a lot of the problem here, is that the collective has reached, like, it's like, okay, the collective has gained like a lot of patience when it comes to most things. But after a certain period of revisiting or reiterating or repeating, right, your patience for that thing wears down. And so the collective then becomes less patient. Okay. And so that triggers like old habits and behaviors, or maybe even defensiveness, right? And then on the other side, it feels like trying so hard not to have a disagreement that they're stifling you and not hearing, or not even trying to hear what the collective is saying, because they assume that they already know, or that the collective is going to become too upset, or it's like this disconnect of like intention, or like you get fired up about certain things, and it's not necessarily directed at the person that you are talking to. And that seems like an issue, right? Because the collective has no problem communicating their feelings, their ideas, there's like a lot pretty much always going on in the collective, as far as what they're thinking, how they're feeling, what they're dealing with, things like that. And it is like very deep. It gets very deep. It's a lot, right? There's a lot going on. And unless you engage with the collective, a lot of times you don't know that. You ask the right questions, if you have a certain energy, there's this more openness, right? And so sometimes that can just really pick up and get going, and it can be overwhelming for a lot of people. It's just this communication problem, right? Like two guarded people that are taking each other the wrong way, or out of context, or something like that. Okay? Yeah, because this is a Two of Cups situation. All right, a level of emotional maturity may be an issue here. It's like, it feels like a long pause, right? But like coming back almost right to where things left off. Okay, into the issues, like stepping right back into the issues that were had before the pause, or something like that. It feels like there's been a lot of like some kind of substance abuse issue. Okay, but we're not just talking about substances. We're talking about any kind of activity that triggers those parts of the brain, the same parts of the brain that substance abuse triggers, right? Those behaviors, right? So because when you start engaging in those behaviors, and you start instantly gratifying and acting impulsively and doing all of these things, you stunt your emotional growth. Okay? And it doesn't pick back up until you stop doing those things. Or at the very least, stop cutting things out. right? And then that is when your emotional growth picks back up and starts to move again. Patience is required. All right, so really it is a matter of, because it feels like you're ahead in your healing journey than this person. Yeah, you've been doing it longer. You are more stable and consistent. And not that this person is not capable, right? Not that they don't have gifts and things of their own. It's just a matter of like, depending on where this person is at in that journey, because that's when you really start making all the growth. And can you be spiritual and do all of that and drink and things? Yes, but you have to absolutely know your limits and not let it become like a habit. Got it? Because it's hard to stay in flow when you have alcohol in you, and there is a reason for that. Yeah. Right. So you can remain clear and in the moment and in flow. So you can receive. So you can stay aware. Okay. Like this person wants to be able to reach like the level of emotional maturity that you're at, where when they get triggered, they don't just the first thing want to run to these old habits. Okay? And it may be specifically alcohol for some of the collective. Okay, that is the most socially acceptable thing, right? Is drinking. So it's really easy for people for it to become a problem or to be used as a crutch. It is hard to give up for somebody who is already struggling and that is around all the time. And especially whenever that is how they're used to socializing. All kinds of things. There's like a relearning of a whole lot of things that you would not expect to have to relearn. I feel like this person feels like you've lost faith in them or you don't trust them anymore. That really upsets them. Okay. I think to some degree there was some kind of level of betrayal or abandonment wound triggered. And so there is some kind of rebuilding or restructuring that needs to take place. But I feel like in this situation, there seems to be like, if you're going to take this on, there needs to be like a sweeping away of it needs to be like a reintroduction. Like you don't need to assume that either of you is the same version of the person that they knew before, the person that they walked away from a very long time ago. Okay, this was a long time ago. Now you may have ran back into them and it may have triggered some old wounds in the both of you, okay? Or it may even have triggered things that have happened since then. All right, but it really does feel like this person's going to pop up on you. And I almost feel, yeah, the Queen of Swords. It's almost like you're waiting. Because, look, I think that the reason you cut this person off is valid. Like, because, look, when you love and care about somebody, you consider their feelings. Okay? You take into consideration how they feel about things. That is a natural thing that you should be doing when you love, if you claim to love someone. If you're not doing that, then that needs to be evaluated. Okay, either it is something that you need to heal, or you don't really love them. So I feel like this was some kind of level of consideration or respect or stubbornness, ego. Something in them, when they're wounded, it triggers this need to rebel. And that comes with emotional immaturity. And again, with temperance. Yes. Like, it would have to be like a brand new baby. Right. Would have to approach each other. Like you don't already know the things, or have an assumption or judgment about the things. But I feel like this person is definitely pulling and tugging on your energy. Collective may have already like ended or learned, perceived this as a lesson and started working on something new. Something, right, the end of the world is there. Okay. Or maybe this person has. They have already, because this feels pretty soon or pretty quickly or pretty, if they have already moved on quickly, then that just reinforces the idea that they don't really know what unconditional love and stuff is. Because like I said, this collective, it doesn't seem like they're the type to just like, even if they were only talking to someone, they're not like gonna rush out and just start talking to like whoever they can, right? That's not really where this collective is at. So if that is what this person is doing, then that just goes to say even more about where they're at emotionally. Right. Right.